whatever.
Yeah, when way back in the day when Grug and Ugg had to cave they wanted to keep safe, they had to do something about it. Not digital, obviously, but they had to keep the saber-toothed tigers out and whatnot. So,
right,
so,
and now
security,
you're keeping the online saber-toothed tigers out.
To exist physically means to be unsafe, and thus you have to find some way to mitigate that as best you can. So,
Welcome to Envision Podcasting, you guys. My name is Jacob. I am here with the good old Bryan Chamberlain. Is that how you pronounce it?
Chamberlain.
Chamberlain?
Like the city in Germany, yeah.
Like the city.
It's not spelled that way, but that's how it's spelled, yeah.
Chamberlain. I did too much, didn't I?
Oh, okay. I guess so.
I'm here with Bryan, and it's one of those things where we had an episode. I don't know how to explain this the best. We had an episode 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And I was dealing with a lot at that point, and it wasn't a bad episode. It was a good
one. One of my best, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. One of the best to not be released.
Yeah, of course.
It was so good it wasn't released.
The world wasn't ready for it.
Right.
So
exactly. But we've done this before. We may look at clips in those podcasts, and maybe we'll put those out based on what Bryan would like to see. But we are going to kind of start this off as like a clear, new, platform that we can kind of build off of, and just a brand new episode. So again, without further introduction, Bryan, I appreciate you for being on. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So what I talked to you about last time, one of the reasons why I wanted to have a conversation with you is because you worked in security.
I did work in security.
And that was something that was fascinating to me because I've never obviously done security, but we've seen security guards around, whatever. I didn't really know how the shift worked, how you kind of entered that world and so on and so forth. Yep. So, I know that you explained it last time around, but if you can kind of take us back, how did you get into security? How did you start your...
Well, I started... the same way pretty much everyone else does. I needed a job. Someone worked in that field. Someone I knew worked in that field. I was able to, say, hey, hire this guy. He's all right. And with a field like security, you always have to be careful. So someone vouching for you in that case is it's important even more than like a regular any other job, because there's a level of trustworthiness that you need with your security officers and whatnot.
Right.
And a lot of people just don't have that.
Right.
And, so the vetting process has to go even deeper than with a conventional job. And, I've been spending my life being a good boy, getting to bed on time, green vegetables.
How old were you when you started security?
God, my math's terrible, but it was 2017, right at the beginning of it.
Okay.
I was working for CNS Wholesale before that. The physical workload was, for those familiar with CNS Wholesale, it's a company that basically does grocery distribution all over the country. Right. The physical workload can be intense.
Yeah, a lot of those guys working in like a CNS warehouse or a Unify warehouse or any sort of grocery warehouses, they get paid a little bit differently than us.
Yeah, it's based on how fast you can get your quota done.
Right.
There's like certain percentages. They even give you like a T-shirt for every like percentage you're able to get to.
Oh, that's sweet.
So I think I got to like 120, and that's about where I peaked.
Right.
But there are people who get to like 150, 160. So there's some really athletic people there. So
now, how long were you there for?
About a year and a half.
Okay.
It was another one. My cousin worked there at the time. He was I mean, it's not like he was able to get me the job, because they'll take anyone who can meet a basic vetting process is able to do the work. That's really the big thing, because not everyone can do the work there.
Did you kill anybody?
No.
But you're still on.
No. I dropped some stuff on my feet, and I broke a lot of product, but that was about the worst of it.
Right. Well, in warehouse work in general is a hard type of world to crack, because you are constantly putting your body in a physical, just do so much physical stress. Not for so little, so much, but it's like, how long can you do that? Because like even at UPS, when we were at UPS, when I worked at UPS years ago, we got paid pretty well. But like it's like physically, like how long can our body do this?
Yeah,
like I knew a guy, he was bow-legged and everything. Like being in warehouse work for 40 years that's what you look like,
Yeah. Everyone there was on the younger side, I'd say. I'd say if you've been there, usually if you were there long enough, someone would you'd go to a different position, like a administrative position,
right,
or even just something like you're just kind of fixing the product that got messed up, or loading the trucks instead of like going out into the aisles and picking the boxes.
Right.
So, but yeah, you kind of had to either you were there as a temporary thing. there to grow or just you didn't have very good planning ahead skills.
Right.
Yeah.
So for you, did you work that job and you're like, man, I gotta kind of not get out of this, but like you weren't like satisfied with it fully and you kind of moved your way into a different field, or did you?
It was more the physical demands were catching up to me.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was, probably in my early 20s. I also had the bad planning ahead skills. Still wouldn't say I have good planning head skills.
Right.
But they're better than they were then.
He's like, I'm in my 30s now, nothing's changed.
I eventually just decided, all right, this is about it. I can't take it.
Right.
I needed a new job because the money ran out, and did security because it was available to me. But I, quickly realized, hey, this is pretty good. I kind of like this.
Right.
I got used to, you'd have to stand for hours at a time, but I was already used to that.
Right, and you have to do like walk arounds, right?
Oh yeah,
the perimeter and everything.
Mm-hmm. It depends on the site.
You did it, and I'm not going to mention the place, but you did it for a specific spot where there was a lot happening. Mm-hmm. You've done it for a couple spots where there's a lot happening, but like in the specific educational sense, you work in that field where there's a lot more going on with younger people.
Yes, yeah.
And that's the best way I could put it for you, because like it is one of those things where you have to kind of take yourself out of the situation and kind of assess from like how all these younger emotional ass people will react. You know?
Of course.
Do you find yourself dealing with that a lot? Like a lot of like the younger type emotional like type of
I have found that. Yeah, I have found that. And some of my coworkers, they're like, that's it. I would hate for them to watch this and think I have anything but good things to say about them because of some of the loveliest people I've ever met. But some of them, they're like ex prison guards.
Okay.
And ex cops, ex military,
right.
Coming from a very different environment where you're like when you're working with the general public in a very front facing and very friendly kind of friendly. You have to kind of put on a happy face a lot more than some of them do.
Right.
Because if you're a likable prison guard, you're kind of doing it wrong.
Right.
Because you got to at least put on.
If the prisoners are dabbing you up, like,
you're
my guy.
Hey, this guy. No, you don't want that. You don't want that.
Right.
But like a lot of other places when you're dealing with the public, you kind of have to. You realize you're at least. You think about it like you're 90% cop, 10% retail employee.
Right.
You gotta be friendly. You gotta be, I like good way to put it is I've seen a lot of these guys, some of the other security officers that I don't really never had to deal with very often. Just kind of the people who didn't last. Like the ones, like the best way to put it is they get like really like the new guys. They get kind of like, oh yeah, I got my uniform. I'm a big tough guy.
I see. Yeah.
Because like they'll make threats at some of the people they have to deal with, or like just like kind of like maybe not direct threats, but implied threats. And like, hey, look at me. But the best way to do it is like to be like that whole like, excuse me, sir, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to do this, that, and the other.
Oh, okay, so be more formal.
Yeah, more formal, more polite. Because like when you threaten someone, it becomes you versus them.
Right.
But when you're polite, it's them versus society because you've got society backing you up. They could trip. They now know.
They see you in the right automatically.
Yeah. They see themselves. Oh, they could trip over some kind of social faux pas, and they're the ones in trouble there. But if you're making a threat, you've already done it.
Right.
You're already kind of past that point, so they can they kind of have license to get a little more. Loosey-goosey with what they say. How
much is de-escalation a part of being a security guard?
Huge. Okay. I haven't had a ton of like physical interactions, and it's a good thing because not.
If you were a security guard, that was constantly getting in fights. It
might be on me. Yeah, but de-escalation is a much bigger thing.
Right.
So you get a lot of times just talking people down, or just kind of putting yourself between the putting yourself between the. Whatever's going on.
Like within the situation between not the antagonist, but the problem, and potentially the victim of the situation.
Exactly.
Right.
You got to do that. A lot of it is just kind of you're kind of there to observe and report. Like if something bad is going on, you're just kind of like the eyes in the sky. You're there to get you refer to the actual police, or if someone's having some kind of medical crisis, you got the EMT is there.
Right.
So yeah, when you're a security officer, you're there to observe and report.
Right,
That's your primary function.
You're not there to like run it, or this is like an investigation that I run now. This is where
you don't have the legal authority.
Because I feel like a lot of like security guards, even though they might not have the legal authority to do so, they kind of still step on that trope where they're
a little bit,
you know, like not like egotistical, but like borderline. This is where I come in and I take.
Yeah, you like, and to extent that is kind of true. You do have some authority,
like mediation type authority,
yeah, something like that. But like authority usually granted to you by like the location you have to be in. Like if you're, I don't know, if you're guarding a hotel, you have the hotel's authority, not legal authority. You know? Like you have like their ability to like, you know, it's their private property. You can enforce that. You can, you know, inform people of the rules, and if they won't do anything, but you can't legally attack them or anything. But you can, you know, I mean, you can insofar as it's defense. A good rule is like match force with force. Right. Like if they shove you, you can probably best not to go all the way there, but like kind of let them know, hey, you know, that wasn't cool. You can't be you know, let them know. Or if they're like just straight up punching you, then you can try to restrain them, hold them down. Now, if they're violent, then you got to at least
not to get into any specific details about people or anything like that. Have you ever had a violent incident yourself, where you've had to deal with somebody where you're like, this is a lot, and it's made you kind of rethink the job in a sense?
So not a few, not like it was never anything that I had to actually deal like, you know, like, you know, really get like into a fighting mode with it. Right. But there was an old guy punched me in the chest once, trying to get me to like get someone out of a certain parking space.
Because that's how I would do it. I would just go to the security guard and
yelling
punch
at me.
him.
Yeah, yelling at me for not doing anything. Like, what do you expect me to do?
Dude, it's not my car.
It's not my car. I can't have him towed or anything. So he wasn't even there long. So he goes there, just punches me in the chest. I'm like, okay, yeah, great, thanks for that. And like, there was one time I think some kid tried to like give me like a kick on the ankle or something like that.
Like kid is...
Well, he was a teenager. Like, I need a teenager, young adult, but he was considerably smaller than me. It was like kind of one of those things where he like tries to like you know kick me like little like stomp in like my ankle shin area. He failed spectacularly. He missed. He, you know, kind of stumbled and ran away. And I'm like, okay. Well, can't wait to write a report about this. So yeah.
This guy, he tried to kick you in the leg. He missed,
in the leg. Yeah,
and then he walked away. Is what happened.
Yeah. I was guarding like a pipeline construction site. Okay. At the time, he was one of those kind of a protester. Just, you know, kind of like a little pissed off to yelling at me. He was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. There were like clearly marked boundaries. He had him and his little girlfriend. They were like taking a really expensive camera, like really. Like this, like, I don't know what the proper term is, those ones with the big, like, telephoto lens. They're like,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they're in there taking pictures. I'm like, guys, come on, let's get out of here. And he tries to, like, kick me in the shins. I'm like, he misses, stumbles, and then he runs away. And yeah, the two of them, I was like, okay, I just filed a report, and that's all there was to it. So.
Right, and on top of that too, if you like, I feel like as a security guard, if something happens to you, like you can take it too far. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So like, if that kid kicked you and you beat the fuck out of him,
then he's got the He's got the not only the moral high ground on it, but the legal high ground as well.
That's what I was gonna say. The legal high ground more so. It's like you have to be careful about the way that you interact with these people because. People are quick to try to start a problem and then sue. Because they can take advantage of what you've done, you know? Do you deal with anybody like that? Have you ever dealt with it?
Yeah, there's definitely some people trying to like bait you into something. I'll tell you this one interesting story. It happened fairly recently. Right. So I was guarding a toy drive. It was like a big event over in a bus station nearby. Okay. And so it was a pretty big event. They had like a Santa Claus and a big area of toys. It wasn't so much that they're donating toys. It's more like the event where the kids come and take some toys. And, that. It was
like a free,
the free
Christmas type of
Toys for Tots giveaway kind of thing. Okay. They collect all the toys they've got over the season, and then this is where they come and give them. The little kids can come and take toys. It's a very adorable, very heartwarming kind of thing. Right. But there was this one son of a gun who so what he does, he asked the event's winding down, and they're kind of they have a lot of extra toys. They're kind of, just giving them off to letting a few, the staff kind of take some, like, hey, here you go. You can take this home to your kids because they have so many. It's unbelievable. it's heartwarming, the generosity of people. But
right.
So this one guy comes up. I think he's maybe been trying to pretend he was staff or something like that, or I don't know. But he says, "Hey, can I have a teddy bear?" And so we're like, "Oh yeah, sure, go ahead." And so he takes this gigantic one, like this. We're talking like just it's like, "Oh yeah, you can have one of the random little teddy bears that
but like the
he takes
the big one, like the size
giant
of this.
like centerpiece teddy bear. It's supposed to be going to the Ronald McDonald Foundation. For the kids with cancer.
Right.
And so he says, "Oh, they said I could have a teddy bear. I'm gonna take this giant one."
Right.
And then
out of all the ones you could have picked.
yeah. He goes for that one because he said, I guess in his mind, he's like, "Oh, they said I could have a teddy bear. They didn't specify which one, so I'm technically in the right here."
Right.
And he's flipping out because he's losing his shit when he says we can't have it. 'Cause he's like, "No, you said I could have this one," and he like. We're actually all trying to calm him down. One of the other security guards is like, they're in a shouting match with each other. The dude literally ends up trying to punch our Santa. So takes an actual, he missed him, but he took an actual swipe at the Santa Claus. And so,
my God.
and eventually he just would not calm down for anything. You can see his wife there trying to get him to.
Honey, don't swing at Santa.
Pretty much. Yeah, trying to calm him down. She's clearly embarrassed as hell, and who can blame her? But yeah, so our Santa actually ended up giving him the giant teddy bear.
Oh, no kidding, really?
And yeah, he eventually left because, if you're someone's that belligerent and that willing to, cause
not
fuss
that
over
he
a
left
teddy
with
bear
the high ground, but like, Jesus.
Well, just the damper on the Christmas spirit that I experienced was really something else.
Right.
So
that's hilarious. It's funny the people that you come across where it's like
to do the characters I've met on security is really.
Because they're willing to do so much in front of you.
Oh yeah, I know.
They're willing to do whatever.
Utterly shameless, some of these folks. But and like as I can tell, I struggle to think of anything more shameless than trying to punch Santa over a teddy bear. But there it is. So
you're like, this is the worst Macy's I've ever been to.
It was. yeah. God. So.
So for you, like past the security work, because it's 2026 now. You started in 2017, so you've been doing it for about 9 years or so.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah. God, it has been 9 years.
Yeah. 9 years of you dealing with fucking these people trying to beat up Santa and everything.
I will say before we switch topics, one thing about security, it is more about keeping people safe, and the big stories I have come from like people who are experiencing some kind of medical crisis, usually an overdose. I've had a lot of those.
Yes.
About 6 months ago, I had another fellow at the same place, the bus station, just passed out on the floor.
Yes.
And it took 2 shots of Narcan to get him back to reality.
He's like, oh my God.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff. Narcan, it's a nasal spray.
Yeah.
It used to be like a needle you had to shoot right into their chest.
Like not like an EpiPen, but like an EpiPen type.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah. So you shoot. It's a nasal spray. You shoot into their nose, and it like gets all the stuff out of their system. They come back, falling back to reality.
Right.
And so this guy, he's took 2 hits of it to get him back to reality. So he had a lot of stuff in his system.
Right.
A lot of drugs in his system. And so and normally when you give them the Narcan, they kind of like it's a quick shock. They're like, oh my God, like that.
Right.
But he came to very slowly. It was it's a testament to just how much stuff was in his system, if that's what.
Do you ever see people on like specific drugs, like you can kind of tell, like a fentanyl type, or like
yeah, kind of
because you've been around these people so much.
Yeah, so I'll say it's not so much here because there's the drug of choice up here is heroin, and if there's one saving grace about heroin is that it's a downer. So you deal with very sluggish, depressed, or like not depressed, but like very sluggish drug addicts.
That's when they're high, but when they're trying to get high, these guys are like freaking adventure.
Oh yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
But so I went to Texas a little while ago.
Okay.
And that's a whole different animal because meth is the drug of choice.
Did you go to Texas for work or just?
Just for a vacation.
Okay.
But it was a different animal because the meth is their drug of choice down there.
Okay.
And meth is an upper. So whereas the sluggish, barely conscious of reality weirdos I have up here. There you have the like crazy fast zombie nut jobs who have, who think they can take on the world. Like, so me and I was there with my 2 cousins and my uncle, their father.
Right.
And we're getting followed by this one fellow, like he must have been like 5'5", and a fairly skinny.
Okay.
I'm 6'1", and I'm the smallest of that group that I just mentioned.
Oh boy! So you're 6'1", he's 5'5".
Yeah.
That's the group of 6'1" or above.
Yeah. So he thinks, oh yeah, a group of 4 6-foot dudes. Oh, no problem. He's got a brick in his hand. He's looking at us like he's just like the craziest guy looking at us. Methed out.
Right.
Like he was ready to just no. So we're just all kind of like trying to like get him to back down. But he's got the brick. He's cradling it like this. He's like that's the look. That's the look he gives us. And so he eventually backed down. We're like, oh man, something.
Yeah.
So this could go a lot of different ways. So luckily nothing came of it. But we made a lot of jokes about it. How like if he tried, we would have each grabbed him by the limb and like dragged him to all the like bars and whatnot, like a weekend at Barney's kind of thing. But like
that's hilarious.
But yeah.
So
alive, of course, though.
Well, yeah. Obviously, if you're dragging a dead body to a bar, that's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, he would have been alive.
That sucks a little bit more,
Yeah, but like it was a total joke.
I gotta give a quick shout out to Pittsfield, Massachusetts. I'm just gonna point it out because I had never been there until I went there for work, and I've been through Hartford, been through Springfield, like hundreds of thousands of times. You know what I mean? It's like both of them are normal, and you see shit like fentanyl and different things happen over there. Where it's like, okay, but you understand as you drive through it, like you get it. There are going to be people who are, and there are plenty of places in Connecticut that are just like that as well. Like I forgot what it's called. Now oh God, what am I thinking? Wellington. Yeah. Wellington's a big area for that. But I didn't think that Pittsfield, Massachusetts would be like that. So I went there for work.
Yeah,
dude, the first time I drove in, this guy was like freaking, he was like leaned out against a tree, just freaking, just gone.
Yeah.
And, not that Pittsfield's a bad place, this is just what I've seen of it. It's like, there are a lot of people who are, fentanyl addicted or addicted to like different types of like opioids and stuff like that. Or drugs in general. Opioids seem to be more of the drug of choice for people who want to kind of escape and get out. And you said, that's more of the drug of choice up here. But it's crazy how you find that more in suburban areas. You wouldn't really expect it, but then you're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? It's not just the big cities. You hear about like Chicago, you hear about all these big cities that have this massive traffic of drugs and everything. But the majority of big traffic drugs happen through smaller cities, smaller counties, smaller states. You know what I mean? It's like you don't really expect it. For you, do you think that there's a difference in security up here versus security down there? Because like down there, I've also heard that like liquor stores are open like 24 hours a day. Weed is completely banned. So it's like kind of opposite of up here, where we really restrict alcohol. You can buy it up until like 10 o'clock at night in Connecticut, 11 at night in Massachusetts. But weed is like you can get it at any point. You can go around the corner and get it. So do you think it's different being a security guard up here versus down there? Or do you think it kind of equals out?
I imagine it's just the things you have to look out for, just the kind of the cultural stuff that you come across. Again, I've only been a security guard up here, so it's hard to really say on that whole thing. But yeah, I will say even up here, the site where you end up, like what you're guarding, can really change the kind of night you have. It can go from anywhere to just you're sitting in your car for hours on end to like you gotta be on point all the time, watching everyone's move, everything everyone does and everything. So one
last question I'll ask you about security.
Okay.
Is there ever been a place where you genuinely felt unsafe? Not that you have to mention the place, but like a specific instance where you felt like you got there and maybe you were working your shift, maybe you got there and you realized this is too much. Maybe you
there's some places are just like they have really creepy vibes, but ultimately nothing's gonna happen.
Okay.
But there was one place where we had some kid had a gun, and I was kind of it was a very public place, and I was kind of going about it, and then some dude kind of comes up to me and says, "Oh, hey, listen, there's this kid over there. I heard a sound coming from him. It was very much the sound of a gun being loaded." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" So I went over there to try to investigate, see what was going on, and alerted the police, of course. Didn't actually find him. I was given a description, but
he probably
was kind of it was a generic description. It's like black t-shirt and jeans. Like, well, there's like a dozen people who
right.
that description. So So yeah, nothing ever came of it. But yeah, there are times when you're going to be unsafe. You're there to be unsafe, so someone else doesn't have to be.
I love that because like as a security guard, you're the guy that's pulled into the situation to kind of mediate and figure everything out. I'm sure that a lot of people who are watching this can kind of relate. Like being in that situation would be incredibly difficult because you're the guy that kind of takes charge and.
Well, you're the first there when something goes down.
Right, exactly.
Like the police,
like the first line of defense.
Yeah, the police they usually respond. They hear about something, respond to it, and they have time to at least a little bit of time to plan for what's going on. You're there, you witness it happen first.
Right.
When it's going down.
Right.
Whatever it is, like somebody's getting into a fight, someone's overdosing. You got to be there. But you're there before even the police are there. So
right.
So yeah, that's that.
So moving into cybersecurity because that's more of your bread and butter now.
Yeah, now
that's something that you were doing the security work the whole time.
Yes,
you were building up to the cybersecurity.
Yeah, for those of you watching, I recently got my master's in cybersecurity management.
Congratulations, my man.
Thank you,
dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of years just plugging away at this thing, but I got that piece of paper. So yeah, I'm part of the. I think it's 4% of the population have advanced degree, so that's me now.
Why cybersecurity?
Mostly because I did regular security, and I thought I could just transfer those skills over the digital world. It did turn out to be a little more complicated than that, but some of it was true. Right. I wasn't the only person in my classes that started with regular security and tried to and was saying, "Hey, I'll do the cyber version of this now."
Right.
Hell, there was one fellow who was a cop for like 9 years, and he said, "Yeah, I'll try cybersecurity because there are similar bodies of legislation you deal with that kind of thing, and all that stuff." And there was a lot of the technical side was fairly new to me, and I'm still learning a lot of it even as we speak. Like coding in Python is something I'm still in the process of kind of.
I don't even know what that means.
Oh, it's basically how.
I don't even know what that means.
So basically, what it means is coding is it's the language computers speak. It's how you tell your computer what to do.
Okay.
And Python is just a language that you can learn to talk to. It's a very ubiquitous one of the most widely used coding languages. So I'm starting there. Maybe I'll learn another one after that, but right now I'm learning Python. So. Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be more of a need for cybersecurity officers, if you will call yourselves?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, CSO.
Officers?
Yeah, cybersecurity officer is a term. It's
okay.
CSO, that's the common term.
CSO?
Yep.
Do you think there'll be more of those than regular security officers in the future? Do you
it's
think
it's a good question because like the difference is like because yes, you're absolutely right. Cybercrime is on the rise, whereas regular crime is on the decline.
Right.
And I often said crime isn't really even on the decline. It just went online.
Mm-hmm.
It's just become digital crime.
Right.
With technology and especially AI, cybercrime is just more accessible to people than it's ever been.
Right.
So yeah, I kind of think like a lot of it, most of it is kind of put in the hands of like the cybersecurity departments in most corporations or just about every sizable organization needs to have at least a little bit of cybersecurity on its hands. They may not necessarily have like a whole department based around it, like some Fortune 500 companies. In fact, you can go so far as to say every Fortune 500 company has a cybersecurity department. But like for a fairly small scale operation, like I don't know, like a website,
mom and pop shop,
mom and pop shop kind of thing. They probably
agree with a website.
Yeah, they probably just have a standard firewall, like standard, your standard operation firewall that kind of call it a day,
right?
Or like something more online based, like say like you have a website dedicated to making like customized graphic T-shirts. Since the mom and pop shop just has like they probably just have like a social media page and that's it nowadays. But like for something that you need a little more digital infrastructure because you need people to post what they want on their T-shirt and all that, and you have to have a database of all that and all your records of your transactions and whatnot. And there's like kind of a question of because like the more secure you are, the more security is resource intensive. It's just how it is. Physical, digital, doesn't matter. It always is.
Right.
So
it's what you have available to you at that time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But asking like a custom T-shirt website to have like the same level of like digital security that like the Department of Homeland Security has.
Right.
Something, like something that guards like the nuclear codes or something like that. Asking that asking that little t-shirt site to have that level of security, it would bankrupt it.
Right.
Because there's just no way you can keep up with. You can maintain that. So.
Right. Well, Amazon. It's funny because I was actually looking into this. Amazon spent like $11 billion on security.
Yeah, I believe it.
On cybersecurity.
If anything, I'm surprised it's that low.
Yeah,
because just what a massive operation it is.
But it could have been perfected. You know, like imagine they spent so much money on it in like 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
They spent like, I don't know if this is true. I really don't. But like, let's just say they spent $100 billion or $200 billion. 21, 22 perfecting this and getting the right people in place. And by 2023, 2024, they're kind of more bulletproof, right? Because they've invested in those people. Would that be the case, or
sort of? There's really no such thing as perfect security, digital or otherwise.
Okay.
There's very high levels of security.
Like alert.
Yeah. But like really any system with enough time and enough willpower and just resources thrown at it, you'll crack it eventually.
Okay.
It could take you years, maybe decades, or if you're talking obscene amounts of money, even longer than that.
Right.
But you get enough know-how and enough resources and you'll eventually get it.
So how big are extortionists to this? Because I'll tell you a personal thing real quick. So about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, I got a call from this guy who was a supposed. This is a real thing. He was a supposed pimp.
Oh God! He was a pimp.
He had said that I had owed him money.
Of course,
this is a real thing.
Okay.
And he was like, I had blown off his girls, which I apologize.
Yeah. Sorry, lady.
I was sorry, ladies. But he really called me and he had said to me that like, oh well, you owe my women money, this and that. What they do is they find old addresses. So they sent me an address. But the funny thing about this address is they sent me an address that I no longer lived at, nor did any of my family members. And then furthermore, they mentioned 5 of my family members that would be killed. 3 of them were already dead, so like, you know what I mean? Like,
oh jeez,
that's right out of the way.
Okay,
you know?
So yeah, that is what we call a social engineering attack.
Okay.
Now that is an unconventional one, I must say.
Oh right.
That is a really special case.
I started looking into it, and I saw how common that was.
Oh yeah, it's all over the place. Because that's like I said, with just about any system, computer or otherwise, the biggest weakness of it is its user. And that is something. That is something that the digital criminals or the cyber criminals of the world have absolutely, latched onto. And it's the social engineering attacks is where someone calls trying to fake trick you into giving up some kind of credentials or whatever.
Right.
Like your pimp scenario. That's something. That's like whoever that was. Like my goodness.
Well, you know what's crazy? Apparently, so I have a buddy who's a police officer, and he was telling me that's it's so common. So much more common than you
Incredibly
think.
common. Oh yeah.
So when I had told him about it, he was like, "Send me the videos real quick."
Mm-hmm.
And he did a background check on the videos. They were all from Pinterest.
Yeah.
And so if it's from something like Pinterest, you got to know that this is probably something that's spread out across.
Honestly, with AI and deepfake, like what a lot of times happens nowadays is that for all you know, you were talking to an AI voice with this pimp guy. It's possible.
I could have been. I've never even thought about that. I thought this was the guy that was trying really hard.
Could have been could have been a dude just really getting just really channeling his inner thespian.
Yeah.
Could have been AI. But what they'll do a lot of times is they'll like someone working at some corporation. They'll get like a call like from their child. It's not actually their child. It's an AI deepfake voice of their child saying like, the child will be like, oh no, you need to give them your credentials or something will happen. And the child's just at daycare, nothing's actually happening to him. But it tugs on those emotional heartstrings and you get someone to panic. And at the end of the day, if it's choice between my company's credentials or my child, then I know exactly what choice I would make.
Yeah, well that's the thing, like a lot of these guys, what they do is they're very predatory. So this is what I've learned kind of going through this. Obviously, when I was dealing with it, I didn't take it with a high degree of seriousness just because, again, the 3 family members that you mentioned were gone. So it's like, and then they immediately said we're connected with the mafia, which any extortionist would say.
Yeah, they are.
And so like you can kind of spot these things out, but at the same time, and by the same token, you see a lot of people who do struggle with that, and my buddy was telling me that there are a lot of people who will come in and they have the exact same story, but then these guys, like some of them have put their whole retirement into this extortionist.
Right.
Who is like, pay
they're a whole
me
like
$1,000 and then $5,000.
Overseas, they're like entire like call centers of people just trying to scam people. Or AI, all this stuff. And most of the time, like, we say we have our little dramatic stories about the pimp or the child in tears, AI child in tears. But most of the time, it's pretty mundane. It's just like, hello, ma'am, I'm from IT. I need your credentials so I can go on and unlock this thing. They just do something mundane and ordinary because they're just trying to trick you into giving up the credentials.
Any company of yours that calls you and asks for your credentials
try to
on a problem that you didn't even know about, you were never emailed about, you were never texted about.
Always verify these things.
Because I've even gotten calls from Chase Bank, quote unquote, where they're asking me to verify my credit card information for no reason. Hey, can you just real quick just give us your credit card number and then your social security, or not social security, but your CVV number?
Well, of course, buddy, here it is. Yeah. Why didn't you ask me sooner? but that's how they'll do it normally. They just do something fairly mundane that you wouldn't even think about.
Right.
Like, that's because, like I said, the biggest weakness of any computer program, any computer server, is the people using it.
Right.
Social engineering is simultaneously it's the lowest, requires the lowest skill. Well, I can't talk. Lowest skill to actually do.
Right.
And because you don't really need much in the way of computer skills to do that. But it also, and it has the highest rewards because it has the biggest chances of working. Right. Because it's kind of easier to trick a person into thinking you're this than a computer.
Especially over the phone.
Absolutely, because you're not in person. You're just.
You're not texting either. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of people they suspect a lot when you text. Whereas if you call, it's more of an in-person thing.
Or even
so you might feel more trusting of that.
Yeah, or even emails. They're called phishing emails.
Yeah.
Phishing spelled with a PH because of course, but they will set up these emails to look like very professional.
Right.
They will imitate the company's like look and feel as much as they can, but there'll be like a single misspelling in the email address that was sent to you.
Right.
Like you're working for, we'll say CNS Wholesale. It'll be like CNS Wholesale with like spelled like hole, like dig a hole instead of like whole, WHOLE or something like that.
Right.
So it'll to trick your eye.
Wholesale.
Like, they sell holes. Yeah.
S-A-L-E.
Yeah, or something like that.
We're professional guys.
Yeah. That's the thing, and you'll fall for it because it looks like the real thing.
Right.
And you'll click this little link, and all of a sudden you've got malware on your spreading through your system faster than you realize.
Right.
So yeah.
So for you, how much of getting into cybersecurity is about where our future's heading compared to what you want?
Yeah, it was as opposed to my undergrad degree. My desire or my choice to pursue a master's in cybersecurity was born out of pragmatism more than like passion for it.
What do you mean? What does pragmatism mean exactly?
Because it's a very thriving
How dare
field.
You use big words?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna turn around and be confused.
It's a good field with many jobs. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's a field that's growing. The need for it is expanding constantly. It's unfortunately it's kind of a sad state of affairs when this is one of the fastest growing fields in existence. But yeah.
What did you say earlier though? It's by need.
By need.
So if a lot of people
there's a lot of demand for it.
Exactly. So. If we're heading in an internet stricken direction where it's like
there's more crime is online, so they need people to make sure that doesn't find you. So.
Right. Do you have any concerns about your own safety and security, or do you think that
a little bit? Really it's definitely
kept everything boxed in though.
The field has made me a lot more paranoid. A lot of the best thing to defend yourself is knowledge. Like, you for as far as, digital tips I would recommend everyone, it's rotate your passwords relatively frequently, use a VPN, and other stuff is just know what to look out for.
That's good to note, though, by the way. Mm-hmm. Like, changing your passwords out regularly?
Yes, I would say every 4 to 6 months is a good time frame.
A lot of us don't probably do that unless our companies want us to, or like our work wants us to.
Yeah, and thing is, someone could be brute forcing your password right now. And you
what does brute force mean?
So a brute force program, that's more on the technical side of hacking. What a brute force program does is it's a program that will just try password combinations over and over.
Right.
It'll go through like every possible combination you can possibly imagine. It'll start with like A, then A, and then something like that. It'll keep going till
okay, yeah.
But they have ways of refining it. Like they'll do every word in the dictionary, or like even refine it more than that, because like something like passwords like words like Pikachu or lightsaber. Those are not in the dictionary, but they're frequently used for passwords because they're
right. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
So yeah, it'll go through. Yeah, it will. Normally, these passwords just go through like absurd amounts of just random strings of digits and characters till it gets the right one. But they have them refined more and more, so it's like common passwords that people use. Like one of the most common passwords is just password 123. Because of course it is. Yeah, I'm sure.
I use the password.
Yeah. And well, don't do that.
Yeah.
Stop doing that.
I'm fucking up.
Yeah.
You're screwing up this early.
Yeah. What I would recommend for password creation is take like a phrase, something like what's a common phrase like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Use the first letter of every word in that.
Like an acronym type?
Or an acronym, yeah.
Okay.
Use that. That would be a good one because it
I like that. I've never done that before.
It bypasses the whole
I have, but like with 2 words, not like a full sentence, and then using the acronym to actually make a password out of that.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. But that what's what I was saying? It dodges a lot of these refined lists of like special words and characters because it's random. It's going to seem like just a string of random characters. So it's not going to be a lot of these like refined brute force lists. And honestly, like this one also use as many numbers of special characters as you can, because just adding like one of those means that the brute force program has to go through way more combinations.
Right.
In fact, little fun fact. Using just letters and numbers and only 8 characters, that's 3 trillion combinations the program has to go through before it can do that. That could take years before it gets.
So how often are these extortionists, hackers, just people online who are trying to take advantage of people? How often do they use themselves versus using programs? Do they always use programs to like try to break your account?
Have to.
Or do they, or not like guessing, but like, like I saw this one guy on a podcast, he was able to like apparently quote unquote tell your PIN. I don't know how true this is. So.
No, PIN's only 4 numbers, so
true, yeah, that is fair.
Honestly, I think part of me thinks we should start to upgrade that to like 6 or 8, but 4 numbers, that's 1,000. Well,
a PIN can't
that's about 10,000.
4 numbers. That might sound
your typical PIN is about 4 numbers.
Can a PIN be more than 4 numbers?
In theory, it's common practice is 4 numbers.
Right.
That's only 10,000
different
10,000 combinations.
So 4 numbers is only
far less. Yeah, far less than the
3 trillion.
Yeah, the 3 trillion I just mentioned. So
that's interesting. That's so fascinating.
Yeah, because it's about probabilities and like
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Trying to make it as wide a berth as possible, so these things can't guess it. But.
Right, and how often these hackers are actually trying themselves, like, what do I know based on experience?
Yeah.
Or how often they're using a program. You're saying the majority of the time, let's just say 85 to 90%, they are using a program to try to break into.
Yeah, well, no, honestly, 85 to 90% is going to be the social engineering attacks, where they just call you up and try to trick you.
Oh, no, but beyond that, let's just say one day you woke up and your Instagram account was hacked. You had to ask, how did that happen? Did they guess the password in, or did they use a system?
There's a ton of different ways they could have done it. They could have just someone else hacked your account and someone just bought your credentials online.
From like broker websites?
Yeah, from broker websites, the dark web, all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So it could have just be there's a bad faith actor in like Instagram's who works for Instagram is just collecting their data and just selling it to randos online.
Right.
A lot of this stuff is inside jobs because you already have the credentials because you need them to work there.
Right.
So and a lot of times they'll find ways to grant themselves higher and higher administrative credentials so that they can use that to collect data.
So it's not so much them using a program; it's more them selling information for a profit.
That's pretty much what it is.
And that's how they're able to get into a lot of
these. So any hacker is going to want to try to compromise one of three things. It's called the CIA triad, not CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency. It stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
Okay.
So any hacker wants to get basically compromise one of those. At least one, possibly all three. But confidentiality is your ability to keep your data private.
Okay.
Integrity is the ability, the idea that your data is what it says it is. Someone might go in and just change it so that it's completely false. Or availability, which is your ability to access your computer program.
Right.
And that last one stands out because it's like, you can't compromise that one without immediately alerting everyone that it has been compromised.
Right.
Whereas the other two, you can get in, mess about with it, and get out without anyone knowing.
Right.
People frequently do. But so that last one, availability, is usually used with ransomware attacks.
Okay.
You've probably heard of. It's when you go in, get the highest level of administrative credentials you can muster, and encrypting the entire network so that no one else can actually do anything with it.
Okay.
And then usually they'll say, okay, I'll unencrypt it for you pay the right price.
Right. Right. How often is this outside the country?
Outside the country,
would you say based on what you've seen? Not this isn't factual. This isn't statistical. It's just based on Bryan's point of view.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, I really have nothing but facts and statistics to draw on.
Okay.
But that's really the hard part with cybercrime as opposed to regular crime.
Mm-hmm.
With regular crime, you have to be physically present for it.
Right.
Like, if I want to mug someone, I have to get out there, grab a knife or
get out there, grab your freaking sickle.
Yeah. I have to put myself in harm's way. It's a more intimate form of crime.
Right.
Whereas opposed to cybercrime, I could be hacking anyone from anywhere in the world theoretically.
Right.
Like,
you can be in Asia.
That hacker might have called you from like Turkey or Belarus or somewhere. Not the hacker, the pimp the guy. Could have been AI calling you from God knows where.
Not to shit on any country. Do you know a country that's like where it's most?
Oh, China.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
China.
no.
China is the cybercrime capital of the world. It's
okay.
Yeah.
And that is that taught to you, or is that?
Yeah, it was taught to me. That's not just something.
Right?
That's not something I just
No. But like based on.
I just decided to make up. No, that was something that was taught to me in my master's degree.
Okay,
so,
that's
China
interesting.
does a lot of this stuff. It's possibly just sheer numbers. Just the fact that China has like billions of people in it.
1.7 billion people. That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, you're gonna just by sheer numbers, a lot of the people end up being cyber criminals. So,
right.
Yeah, when you've got more people end up making certain choices. So.
And how much of it is common in the United States? Is it a common thing?
It's decently common. Like a lot of the times, like when they again, this is all information that's very difficult to actually.
Right. This is all in theory. I should say this is all in theory, but
it's like any data we have on it is going to be very sketchy at best.
Right.
Because one, it's hard to collect because anyone who wants to commit cybercrime isn't going to be forthright or dying to share that information.
I'm in the area.
Yeah. You mostly have to collect information from people who have like been arrested, who failed to who failed at it. So people got caught, and cybercrime has a pretty low capture rate as far as people getting actually prosecuted because it's so hard to find them.
Well, there are apps where you can, and I remember I used this on the fucking pitiful guy who tried to extort me.
Mm-hmm.
He had called me like a dummy. He called me, and I kept him on the phone and everything like that.
Yeah.
And there are apps you can put the phone numbers through if you pay. You can reroute their number and see where they're at.
Oh yeah. There's stuff.
So I didn't know about that. So I was looking into a little bit of that.
But that's assuming he's not using a VPN, which a lot of these hackers are going to be.
That's what I was gonna say. Is like so both the numbers that he called me from were in Florida. How much of that was like those numbers are in Florida and they're taken off of people. They have ways of like encrypting their own information. Right. And any hacker like who's good at it is going to be doing something like that. And this guy can be completely out of the country and say,
we're
in Florida.
Could be anywhere. A lot of times what they'll do is like some of these especially the state-sponsored groups, right? Like the ones who did the Solar Winds attack, it was a Russian group, but they set themselves...
Solar Winds.
Oh, that was a big... We'll get into that.
Okay.
We'll get into that in a sec. But it was a big digital breach for the United States. It was allegedly done by Russia.
How long ago was this?
It was 2019.
Okay.
So it started in 2019. It was discovered in 2020. It was a big breach. They used a supply chain attack.
Okay.
So it's called a supply chain attack. That is what you do because a lot of firewalls are pretty sophisticated nowadays. Attacking a company directly for is not the best idea. The brute force attack things are also somewhat outdated nowadays because they have ways of making it more sophisticated. But what this one is kind of very much I'd say for lack of a better term, the new big thing in the hacking is what you do. You'll take say you're running Amazon, and Amazon is downloading some certain software for whatever reason, something to to deal with their supply chain, their inventory, all that. They're getting some program to do that. What you do, you infect that software update they're doing with some malicious code, and it goes in there, and when they take in the code they think is good, so there's that malware in there.
So they run all their data on a false type of program based on what was infected. So if I'm an outside guy and I'm hey, listen, I want to infect your data, I know that you're gonna put all your data on this program. I'm gonna infect it so I can steal that data from you. Kind of?
Sort of. So what you want to do is you want to get the malicious code, which is the program that does something bad.
Right.
You want to get that to basically piggyback on another more benevolent program that they're going to be installing.
Okay.
It would be like imagine if I wanted to poison you, and instead of just jabbing you with a needle, I put the poison in something you're going to eat later.
I see.
So that's what I do. Yeah. So I try to put this stuff into more mundane reference points if I can.
Right, no, it absolutely.
So that's how you do it. So I know, oh yeah, Jacob's got a pizza in there he's gonna eat later. I'll just get this cyanide in there, and then suddenly you're toast. So that's kind of how a supply chain attack works.
And that's how these guys operate.
Yeah, that's one of the more advanced levels of ATPs, which is advanced persistent threat, which is usually when nation states try to hack each other. That's what they're doing. Because your regular cyber criminal can only do so much. He's only got so many resources at his disposal. But when you're doing a state-sponsored thing, you have the government funneling tax dollars into you. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff.
So what about big hacker groups? I'll name drop an anonymous type.
Yeah,
okay. They're
not. They're as far as I know not state-sponsored. But to circle back to the SolarWinds thing. They were attacked by a group called Cozy Bear.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and Cozy Bear was they're a Russian sponsored hacker group, and it's Bear, it's Russia and the Bear.
When you say Russia sponsored, is it these guys are going to go outward?
Yeah,
they're
doing it on behalf of the Russian government.
Or is it they're trying to protect and defend, and these guys
a little bit of both? But in this case it was attack because when the SolarWinds breach took place, the Russians they came into America and did everything from within the United States.
Right.
And SolarWinds was a big cybersecurity company.
Okay.
And they had a lot of big name clients like the Treasury, the Department of Homeland Security.
So federal more.
Yeah, federal and also private ones like Microsoft, Intel,
right.
NVIDIA, all these
That's
guys.
Insane.
Yeah, they had all these clients. And that
Microsoft, dude?
Yeah, Microsoft. I know. Even Microsoft.
Literally one of the biggest companies in the country.
I know.
That's
insanity. They were
biggest company in the world. One of the biggest companies in the world.
I think NVIDIA is the biggest company in the world now.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure they were also a client of
Microsoft. Oh, really?
Yeah. So these guys were able to. They spent a year and a half within the system collecting data from all these places,
right,
and just shipping it right back to Russia. So
wow, so it was an extortion.
Yeah, it was a
scheme
big
underneath your nose.
One of the biggest ones in history, and it's big because it was the first time. Well, probably the biggest event, and because supply chain attacks were kind of fairly new at the time,
right.
So they didn't really have a plan for it. So once they got their program in there, they were able to install a backdoor, and they were just a backdoor is it's like a login site or a login page that the rest of the company isn't aware of. So the hackers use it to break in and out whenever they can.
Oh, okay.
It's like a secret login page that the rest of the server isn't aware of.
Right.
So that's how they're just getting in through there.
So that passwords attempted thing that you see, that will never pop up with a backdoor.
Yeah. You just set up your own login page that you
can easily break into. And if nobody knows about it, if you fail the password, nobody will even know.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so
you
crazy.
You don't have to bother with all the password attempts or anything.
Right.
And hell, you probably I've never actually used one myself because I'm a good boy.
Right.
Doesn't hack into big multinational corporations or anything. But yeah, you do that, and then they didn't. Obviously they didn't do a ransomware attack because that's very uncommon with these things. They went in once they were in the system. They had access to all these other networks,
right?
Because SolarWinds was providing firewalls and security for all of them, and they're all interconnected. So it's like once they had access to the system, they had access to everything.
Right.
There was very little internal networking or internal division. So it wasn't like once it trying to think like imagine if like it's the difference between breaking into like a basketball court as opposed to breaking into like a apartment complex.
Right.
Like once you break into a basketball court, it's a big open building where everything's just kind of there. Whereas apartment complex, okay, you break into the hallways, but if you want to break into any of the others, you gotta like start unlocking more doors and whatnot.
Right.
So there's no redundancy in the firewall, no anything.
So once they were in, they didn't have to go
through
they
just had it all.
They had to breach anything else.
Oh, and to make it even more sad, because I'm just decided to, I'm just burning my bridges with any chances of working for SolarWinds now. But their password to get in that they found was SolarWinds123, which is like, wow.
Password 123.
Yeah. Basically.
That's hilarious.
Really.
That's
really
crazy.
Guys.
For such a huge company, too.
I know.
What kind of backdoor did they really need?
I have a more complex password for like my HBO Max account.
Right.
So like, come on, guys.
Right. You guys hold freaking information from Microsoft and what was it?
The Treasury.
The Treasury.
Department of Homeland Security.
You mentioned other companies.
DOJ. Nvidia, Intel,
yeah.
And probably more. Probably ones that don't even have much to do with probably like Amazon, Walmart, all these guys. So
right.
A lot of big names on this one. So.
Did you ever see that guy that was on some interviews? Basically, he showed how he could hack your phone without even trying.
I've seen videos like that. I don't know if I've.
He's a specific dude. He was like an ex-CIA guy, I believe. Mm-hmm. And all the comments will always say thank God he's on our side.
Yeah,
because he's so good.
Well, there's going to be guys like that on the other side too. Believe me.
What he does is he specifically finds child predators.
That one phone.
Yeah, skinny guy, freaking blonde
hair. What's his name?
Freaking shrunken face.
Yeah, like the dude will show up in the living room and he'll come and be like, "Hey, what are you doing there, bud?
Right,
what are you doing talking to this young kid?"
Right.
I've never seen that, but I know it through memes and whatnot. People showed me the
Well, not the guy that's slapping guys. I mean, I'm sure he's good at what he does. You know what I'm talking about? The guy who's he has him on video and he's like, "Hey, what were you doing? We were gonna meet with a 13-year-old girl."
I know.
I've seen videos like that.
Yeah, I've seen videos online and other videos of people making versions of it,
right. But this guy specifically, he had
find something else, use it as a meme template or something like that.
He had a specific VPN. He had a specific. Mm-hmm. He had specific everything.
Yeah.
And he showed how quickly he can just take information off your phone.
Yeah,
and it was within 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, he just zapped. It's like if you look at your phone and it was empty.
Yeah.
Where did all my contacts go? Where did all my where'd my social media go? You know what I mean? My videos, everything.
But because a lot of the stuff to keep it safe, computers don't normally have that. They install the firewalls and whatnot. But before that was a thing. So back in the late 80s, the internet was referred to as the ARPANET.
Okay.
That was it was very tiny compared to what it is now. It was there were no firewalls at all because no one used it besides really high-end computer nerds and whatnot. And you could just you get any information that was on it.
Right.
Because honestly, there was very little personal information because people weren't making purchases or anything on it.
Right. No credit card information.
No credit card information. No nothing like that. But and a fun little historical fact is there was one fellow named Robert Morris who what he wanted to do, he basically crashed the internet completely by accident.
Mm.
And since, like you said, because once you get through all the firewalls and stuff, computers are actually pretty easy to control and manage.
That's what I would imagine. Yeah.
Really, you can if you have a computer chip and no protections on it, you can just get a couple little pieces of those little clip wire things, get onto it, and you have access to whatever's on it.
Really?
Yeah. But so back to Robert Morris though. What he did is he wrote a line of code that that was meant to like kind of measure how many computers were on the ARPANET.
Yeah.
And so he did that, and he basically what he did is he wrote the code to hey, go to this computer, install yourself on it, and then make a copy of yourself and send it to another computer, and just keep doing that, and eventually, we'll have an idea of how many computers are on this thing.
Okay.
And so he did that, but he didn't put any safety mechanisms on it. And since there was no like firewall or anything, computers just took whatever they were given.
Right.
And he basically did that in the code called the Morris worm. It would basically, it would take copy of itself and just sending itself all around. And eventually there were so many of these, and it kept just copies of this thing were just sent everywhere and everywhere and everywhere. The ARPANET was completely clogged with them. And if you had one on it, it would just keep, it would copy itself, send itself, and just keep going. So they had to shut down the entire thing.
Really?
Set everything back to factory default and whatnot, just to make sure that this thing didn't stay on there. Because the man literally crashed the internet with like 13 lines of code.
So if code gets... If it gets to that point where it's like,
there's safeguards against stuff like that now.
Well,
there's probably, yeah.
But is it to the point, because I remember United Foods last year got hacked really bad and had to factory reset all their systems.
Yeah.
Is there a code that gets to that point for companies where it's like they do have to factory reset even nowadays, even with all the firewall?
Sort of. That's like if you get if your whole thing is encrypted. Like I said, the ransomware attacks.
Right.
If it's encrypted, what encrypted means is basically it takes everything and makes it unreadable. It'll scramble everything you have. What's a good way to put it? So, you have all the data, all the, users and information and whatnot, everything that you as a human can read.
Right.
Now, that means very little to a computer. Computers just dealing with ones and zeros and whatnot and binary. So if you tell a computer, hey, change this so all the letters are a different letter, then so now it's like, okay, boom, all the letters are a different letter. Now it's the same thing to the computer. It all means the same thing. But to you, the human, you can't read it.
You're reading.
You're reading stats.
It's like taking an essay and switching.
Just
words,
switching all the letters around and everything. And suddenly, if I took Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens and said, hey, make every letter different, suddenly it's just an incomprehensible mess.
Right.
That's basically what encryption or ransomware attacks are doing.
And at that point,
you have to either, what a lot of times they'll have is they'll be saving a lot of their data to a backup site, which is a set of servers that are off-site. They'll be loading everything onto that. It's probably every week they take everything that was all the data that the server collected over the years, or over the weeks, or the days.
Right.
And just kind of move it to that backup site and say okay, everything's, we have this little backup site. Everything's good. If we get hacked, then we can, we'll have a copy of all our data. It's sort of like, if you, I don't know, if you're writing something and you put it on a flash drive, and it's kind of like the big version of that. And so if you can either, at that point, if your file gets hacked and encrypted, you can either pay the ransom, which you probably shouldn't do because there are laws against it.
Right.
Which a lot of companies try to do that in private, secretly. But
but even if you pay the ransom money, I mean, they can just extort you for more.
In theory, yeah, but usually if you have access to your servers again, you're going to wipe all the credentials and have them start back and reset.
Well, what I mean is, let's just say they still have your credentials, you pay them the money, and then they don't give your credentials back.
Well, the credentials stolen will be wiped from the system, so that the credentials that the guy took, usually these things happen because they got, some hacker basically stole someone's password, username and password. They got that, and then they managed to climb up the administrative ladder until they found
administrative scam ladder.
No, that's administration in this case is higher levels of authority within the system, and usually a hacker.
I see.
I see.
I thought you meant administrative. This guy's in a scam call center.
No.
He's I've worked my way up to this, boys.
No, some probably do just that, but in this case, he'll grant himself higher levels of administrative authority.
Right.
That's kind of how that takes place, and then they'll do that. But when they've regained the control, they'll scrub all the credentials, set up all the employees will be required to set up new ones, And so any credentials he managed to, and usually they can figure out which ones were doing that. At least they can after they've regained control, so they can scrub it and kind of, close that vulnerability.
Right.
So it's hard to say that, he'll just keep doing this until they, keep doing that. Usually ransomware attacks are one and done. But still, if you're not willing to pay the ransomware attack, then what you can do is just basically wipe your servers, use the backup server, use the data collected on the backup servers, and just install that again. So you're basically resetting your entire system.
So that's what I was gonna ask you is and first off, I appreciate you being here. I really do, giving us tips and having us learn more about the world of cybersecurity, especially because we're all jumping into this together.
It's true. It's a brave new world. It's a brave new world, and we're all here for the ride.
Seriously, and I think that the more we're involved, look at where this podcast is going. It's going right online. You know what I mean? It's the more we're involved in a world like this, the more we have to learn to be careful and not to step on certain shells.
Absolutely.
If you could to the people here, what 3 tips would you give as far as trying to keep all your information out of extortionists, all your information off of broker sites, trying to maintain a well-balanced awareness online?
Well, it's kind of hard to keep your information completely off this stuff. A lot of them, the broker sites are required to scrub your information if you call them, but there are so many, you spend ages trying to do that.
Right.
The best, I'd concern yourself more with and not to mention a lot of just legit companies are collecting your data. You go to Target, you go on the website, they're going to remember, oh yeah, this guy looked at this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
How when you hop on a website and suddenly you look at a product, suddenly you're seeing ads for it everywhere, even if it's I bought a toilet seat, I don't need another one, but you'll still see them for a month, ads for them for a month.
Right.
But it's kind of like that. It's so hard to avoid data collection these days. I'd say the best in today's cybersecurity landscape, the 3 best things you can be doing are, one, arm yourself with knowledge, but that's a little too vague.
You think that's too vague?
Too vague to really call it
But it is valid. Just know what you're doing, where you're going online.
Know where you're going online. Know what you're logging into. So rotate your passwords. Have a VPN installed. And just know what you're doing, know what you're logging into. One of the biggest threats nowadays, they always just say public Wi-Fi is always kind of sketchy to log on.
Okay, yeah.
Not as much nowadays. They have subroutines that make it harder to move laterally between devices.
Right.
It's not foolproof. The big thing to watch out for nowadays is what I call twin networks.
What does that mean?
So you ever been to Starbucks or I don't know, Chili or something? And you'll log in. You'll look at the Wi-Fi.
I can imagine.
You'll see one. It'll say Starbucks guest, and there's the SB guest. That usually means there's someone out there in the car with a laptop trying to wait for someone to log into that, so then they can just move laterally into your.
And a lot of the times, those Wi-Fi networks are not free, but
no
password
required. No password required. Just I agree. Log in. All that. So and obviously if it's a fake network, there's obviously going to be no password because they want you to log into it so they can just sneak on into your device.
They can set up a quality connection though.
So
a Wi-Fi connection,
a fake connection, and they'll name it something similar to whatever that is nearby.
And so here you are going through your phone, whatever, and you're like, oh man, this is really nice. I got free Wi-Fi, whatever.
Absolutely.
And it's not the real thing.
It's not the real thing. It's a fake. It's a fake Wi-Fi network. Like I said, Starbucks guest and SB guest. The SB, we'll say it for the sake of this, SB guest is the fake one. So it'll look they'll set it up to look just like the regular login page.
Right.
The Starbucks login page with, their logo and some professional looking and friendly looking nonsense on there.
Right.
And you log in and suddenly, oh, hey, you're on my network. Because there's a thing in cybersecurity and just computer in general called moving laterally. Every device that's logged into a Wi-Fi network, you can usually jump from between them. If you have a laptop or phone or whatnot, you can gain access to other devices that are onto that Wi-Fi network.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of people, their one little thing, they'll gain access to network by logging onto the refrigerator or something like that, like a device that has a Wi-Fi connection, but you tend not to think of it.
Oh, so, okay, those newer type of
So once you got that, you can move laterally to like, oh, now I'm onto their laptop, now I'm onto their TV, now I'm onto their phone, and they're, oh look, some interesting little corporate documents that I'm not supposed to look at. That's that kind
so
of stuff.
crazy.
Yeah, they can do all kinds of stuff. You log into their
fridge. That's Mr. Desperado. That's who that is.
But no one would think to guard your fridge. No one would think to guard your fridge,
Right.
But fridges have Wi-Fi connection now. Right. I struggle. Sometimes I wonder why they need it. They just keep things cold. They don't, but like there are certain things like you want to monitor the temperature from like there's certain little functions you can like one thing you can do. Some fridges have like the ability to like have a camera in them so you can look to see what's inside it. So if you're at the grocery store, you're like, what do I have in my fridge?
Whether you have a temperature gauge or whether you're able to tell whether it's but
at the end of the day, it still just keeps things cold. I would just not bother setting up connecting your fridge to the Wi-Fi.
Oh yeah. That seems.
I'm too paranoid to connect something like that to the Wi-Fi now.
Right. Well, for you nowadays, and that was going to be my second question is. How much more aware are you now of your online presence compared to when you first started college?
It's got me very, very paranoid. Like I probably like fell for a dozen phishing scams. Well, not scams, but websites. I don't know how to put it, but like basically, I'll stay to websites I trust. I'll be any emails or like texts I get, and you can get it through text too. It's called smishing.
Right.
That I'll get from something. I'll be like, I don't know about that. There's one I got recently. It was from I think Fanatics, or it claimed to be from Fanatics. It's like it was saying like, hey, our jerseys are like $40. Click this link. Click this obviously sketchy shortened link to go for it. Right. And I look on their actual website, and it's there's no sale going on right now. It's obviously fake.
Okay,
so fake profile. I my old self would have been like, whoa, a fake or a $40 jersey, that's just great. And right there I go. But now current me is like, I'm not. I'm gonna trust but verify on that one.
Dude,
not even trust. I'm just gonna verify.
That's awesome though that you gained so much experience as far as building yourself up.
Yeah, now you know what to look for.
Right, so. and you getting into this future program, man, is like really. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm happy that you've taken something that's physical security and you've moved it more to an online presence because what we were talking about earlier on who's going to need more. I do think that we're treading towards online.
Oh, absolutely.
Type.
Absolutely. There's
presence.
There's no breaks on this train.
Because like security for regular people has been around forever. At
bars,
since
malls,
whatever.
Yeah, when way back in the day when Grug and Ugg had to cave, they wanted to keep safe. They had to do something about it. Not digital, obviously, but they had to keep the saber-toothed tigers out and whatnot. So,
and now you're keeping the online saber-toothed tigers out.
To exist physically means to be unsafe, and thus you have to find some way to mitigate that as best you can. So
that's awesome.
And now the same is true with being online.
So are you now job hunting?
I only got the degree like a month and a half ago.
That's what I was going to say. This is very, very
this is a very
in many years of learning.
In many years of learning,
One moment of like, I got it.
It was something. It was something walking through the graduation ceremony and whatnot.
Do you think you're going to start at a smaller type company?
Probably. Start with something entry level and build my way up from there.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, I appreciate you for being on and you teaching everybody about like how to be more safe online because I think we need a podcast episode like this where we can be more aware of what we're doing, where we're engaging. Because a lot of us, we don't see each other, but we engage with each other all the time.
It's made us all so much more interconnected.
And I like that.
But that means it's great, but you're interconnected with some people, a little unsavory.
Right. Some of those piranhas can come back up.
Yeah, it's always everything. It seems like everything you do is 2 steps forward and 1 step back.
Right. So I feel like you're a guy that's going to be more of a regular on this podcast. I just do. I feel that because
there's a lot of stuff I could have talked about but didn't, like my intense love of literature and the book I'm writing.
The intense love of literature.
My intense love of literature. Like
you're one of
I like cybersecurity, but I love.
This man loves a book.
Love a good book.
He loves a book so much. He's writing his own.
I'm writing my own. Maybe we'll talk about that someday.
Yeah, absolutely. But, well, like I said, I want you here regularly. I think that it's good to have you as a part of this show or episode, whatever you want to call it, podcast.
Happy to be here. I'm happy to share my knowledge with everyone Everyone on the other side of that camera over there.
And that's what I love.
So,
it's like it's educational and it's smooth. It's not like one of those things where like, you know, I'm bringing somebody on that I don't want to talk to. And you know, you get questions like that about, you know, podcasts that you have is like, do you want to actually have a conversation with this person? With you, I've had nothing but, you know, throughout the first episode, which we haven't dropped, and you know we most likely won't, but maybe we'll pick some videos from that. From the first episode to this episode, it's all fluidity, and I greatly appreciate that. If there's anything you want to mention,
just say, Jacob, you can turn a guy red talking like that.
No, I appreciate that. You know, it's just like it's one of those things where I do mean it. You know, you bring a lot of value to the table,
Thank you.
and I greatly appreciate you for being on. If there's anything else you want to mention or bring up? Or
well, one little thing. It's not guaranteed, but I'm currently in the works of starting my own podcast.
Okay.
Like I said, I love books, and I have a good friend of mine who's a big movie buff. So we are hopefully going to be starting our own soon. Where
that's awesome.
We'll take a movie that's based on a book. He'll talk about all the movie aspects. I talk about the book and all its stuff.
That's fascinating because that's never been done before.
I mean, I'm sure there are at least a few.
Well, maybe, but like,
but I'll do it best. That's what I'm gonna say.
Well, it's not to the extent where you're kind of like syncing it.
A lot of people they'll talk about the movie or the book. We're gonna talk about both.
Right. I'm useless in most capacities, Bryan, but when it comes to podcasting, I've seen quite a few.
Thank you.
And I haven't seen one that's really like that, so that'll be fascinating.
Okay, well, let's. I can't guarantee it.
Don't fuck this up.
It's still in the works.
Don't screw this up.
Hopefully, I'll see you all there. So,
awesome. I appreciate you for having you on and everything.
Thank you for having me.
No problem.
It's been awesome.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.